All right, what's up? So, I'm sure that we know that life is but a vapor and it comes and goes. And this past weekend, my wife had a family reunion that we went to, and it was awesome. We stayed at a cabin. Mainly, it was awesome because it was just in an isolated area in a state park, and we were able to do quite a bit while we were there, which was mainly relaxing. Her grandfather's brother was there, and I think he's 92, around there. And it's so interesting to hear stories from you know people who have seen a lot. And I think here in East Tennessee, he knew the guy who worked on his father's land. Something about them having like the first tractor. Yeah, I think it was either in the country or the state. But I'm like, that's amazing. But it was probably the country. And I don't know, it was so wild to think about something like that. How now it's so common, especially when you go out in the country, to see tractors all over the place. But back then, it was not. And there were also, people worked harder back then. Over time, obviously, if you go back and look at like the footage, just people, they've gotten fat, they've gotten lazy, and they don't really want to be doing much. A lot of people are just not as motivated as they were back then. And some of that, it's because of culture, what's pushed on us. Uh, Also, I don't know, maybe like the way our parents had raised us as well. And too many people have the victim mentality and mindset nowadays, where they blame like their past hurts. Like I've been guilty of that for golly, maybe like 20 plus years. I lived in that kind of mindset where I always felt stuck, but there's always a way to get out of it. And I mean, it might be painful, but just like when you're a baby, you've got to learn how to probably roll first, roll, crawl, then eventually stand, then eventually walk. And it is a process, but they stack on each other. So once you break past one barrier, most of the time it's a mental barrier, then you'll be able to do the next thing that you need to do to get you a step forward to where you need to go. And I know I was reflecting a lot of this stuff like over the weekend, and it was just such a humbling experience, and some of it was painful just because there's still some unaddressed trauma that I haven't dealt with. And you've got to look past that stuff. Don't completely like deny that it didn't happen, but it's okay. Like remember, just to acknowledge that stuff sometimes, because life is not easy most of the time. But the things we need to do to get to where we want to be, we can make it a fun process. And you do that by learning and by acting. And there is a lot of dude. There are so many freaking people. I learned so much just from my 5 year old, and especially from my 2 year old. Mainly from the 2 year old, how to enjoy life, like using socks for gloves that my son has worn all day. She'll just put them on her hands. They go straight up to her elbows, and it's my wife thinks it's gross. I think it's hilarious. But it's moments like that where I'm like, look at how creative she was. Those are made for feet, but she uses them as gloves. And then she'll dress up. I don't know. She'll like put a blanket over her head and just walk around being like the blanket monster, something. And then my son, he'll always want to play, and and I know it's not always going to be like this, but you need to approach life with a childlike mindset at times because it is necessary. I mean, we need play because if you don't have that, then you're just going to be a boring, lameo butt cheese face. Like it's just going to be, yeah, they're my big word for you, but it's just going to be a really boring ride. And I have been told, and it was really humbling yesterday, that my best friend called me, and just we're at a part in our lives where we just can't talk a whole lot. He has his own business, and he's being pulled in so many different directions. And me starting this business journey, um, like it's just a lot while working two jobs and having a family and volunteering at church. Just doing a lot. And he comes to me as the man who just brings him joy and humor. And it's crazy because I don't think of myself as anything special. Now I know I'm created in the image of God, but I know I'm definitely I'm definitely probably not normal. I'm abnormal most of the time. I'm like the kind of weird that's just fun and exciting. Like to make my kids have a good time, I will. literally, I do this, and if you happen to see me, I'm sorry, but you're welcome as well because maybe it'll give you some ideas. But whenever I get gas around the car, I'll just get out of the van and then I'll just get in front of it and just pretend like I'm running. I'll run in place and then I'll drop down under it and then I'll push down on the bumper to make it seem like they hit me. And I'll even like run backwards and pretending like I'm trying to run forwards to make it look like the van is actually going. And they love that stuff. And of course, I've gotten like weird eyes and everything like that, but who cares, man? People like need to learn how to have fun no matter where you are. And I think a really, really good example, even if you don't have kids yet, is watch Bluey. The writers, I feel like all the writers there, they have to have kids because they just understand the husband and wife mentality and then also raising children. But there are so many innuendos of humor in that show. It's just amazing, and it's a lot more appropriate than SpongeBob. If you want to have fun, I'm telling you, you can literally go back through things that you did when you were young. Like, did you play with action figures? Did you color? Did you paint? Did you dig holes? So fun fact about me, I went through a phase where I dug holes as a kid. and and I'm laughing because there were two instances where I mean it was a gardening shovel, like no bigger than like this. But I mean I dug monstrous holes, maybe like 2 feet by 1 foot. So I mean they were, you know, I feel like I'm doing a dance. So, they were good size, and I don't know why I dug the holes in certain places that I did, but I dug one right in front of our hammock. And within like a day, it was a big one. I put sticks over it so then I can lay a rug over it to cover it up, and then I threw dirt over it, not even thinking that it was going to be a booby trap. Later that day, I got in a lot of trouble because apparently my mother fell in it. She almost broke her leg. so, so you would think that I would have learned, but I didn't. And then we had a shed in our backyard, and my dog died, and I love that dog. So as a way that I coped, I'm like, what am I gonna do? Oh, I know. Pick up my new hobby and start digging. So I dug. I mean, it was like a 4 foot hole, and I was gonna. It was my goal to dig like the whole state of Tennessee is over a massive cavern. So I'm like, I'm gonna dig to the cave system. And even if I found it, that would have been horrible because I probably would have fell right through it. But I didn't get that far. I probably dug about 4 feet down, and then maybe about like 3 feet. The tunnel started to go about 3 feet in, and years and years later, this was, gosh, I think I was in my 20s, and I dug that when I was probably like 13. But yeah, my cousin, my aunt, my aunt's, anyway, my dad's sister's husband. I don't know what you call that, but yeah, I know it makes it sound complicated, but yeah, he was telling me a story of how he mowed in our backyard like years ago, and he was like, "Man, just some idiot dug a hole and I fell in it when I was mowing." And I'm like, "That guy was a dummy." Um, but hopefully you forgive him. And, and then I told him it was me, and we had a good little laugh. But yeah, I forgot. Threw a piece of wood over that. Then as time goes by, grass grew over it and all this stuff. But that just goes to show that everybody is unique in their own ways of having fun. Just don't do anything kooky or dumb, like all these stupid TikTok things or TikTok things where people they just go dance in public or they'll scream or they'll hurt somebody or they'll do like a prank. I'm like that stuff is stupid and there will be like consequences. People don't think there will be consequences, and I'm like, dude, so people go to jail over this stuff. They physically hurt others, or somebody might actually kill you. I mean, it gets, or sorry, unalive you, and yeah, it can get a little crazy. So, what I gathered from this weekend was just be present and enjoy the moments with not just those around you. Pay attention to what you can learn from them, and also learn how to have fun in the moments by being a kid. Bye, bro. Go out there and make today a great day. God made it for you. See ya. Oh, my knee, get out of the chair.